Welcome to my channel, USA Battle Zone. Today, we bring you a story that will shake your heart, test your soul, and remind you that behind every uniform, behind every medal, there's a story of sacrifice, love, and ghosts that never rest. This is the story of Phantom 7. Music fades into a somber piano theme, with wind blowing softly. It began on a gray morning at Camp Pendleton. The fog hung low, swallowing the training grounds in silence. The recruits stood in formation, backs straight, hearts pounding, boots pressed into the cold, wet earth. A new commanding officer had just arrived, Colonel James Rourke, a man with 25 years of service, 3 tours in Afghanistan, and a reputation that could make even the toughest Marines stand taller. But that day, something unexpected was about to happen. He stepped forward, his boots echoing against the concrete. His eyes scanned the lineup. Among the sea of faces, young, sharp, determined, stood one woman, her expression unreadable beneath the brim of her cap. Her name tag read Evans. Rourke's tone was steady and commanding. Name, rank, and call sign. One by one, each Marine shouted their details. Sergeant Miller, call sign Thunder 2. Corporal Hayes, call sign Ghost Rider. Then it came to her. The woman raised her chin, her voice strong and clear. Lieutenant Sarah Evans, call sign Phantom 7. The moment she said it, the world seemed to stop. Rourke's face went pale. His eyes, once sharp and assessing, widened with disbelief. The air turned heavy. Even the recruits felt the shift, though they didn't understand why. He took a step closer, his voice quieter now. Repeat that, Lieutenant. Phantom 7, sir. He swallowed hard. The words hit him like a bullet he never saw coming. Because Phantom 7 wasn't just a call sign. It was a ghost from his past, a name he thought he'd buried in the sands of Kandahar 8 years ago. Cut to flashback. Sound of helicopter blades, gunfire, and shouting. Back then, Rourke commanded a covert recon unit known as Echo Team. They were the best, 7 Marines who called themselves the Silent Phantoms. Their missions never made the news. Deep strikes, extraction ops, lives saved that no one would ever hear about. But in 2017, something went horribly wrong. They were sent on an operation to retrieve a high-value target from a Taliban compound on the edge of the Panjwai Valley. What was supposed to be a 2-hour mission turned into a bloodbath. Rourke's voice echoes over the comms. Phantom 7, move to the East Ridge. We've got civilians in the blast zone. A young voice crackled back, confident, fearless. Copy that, sir. Moving in. That voice belonged to Captain Daniel Evans, the youngest member of the unit. Brave, loyal, and the kind of Marine everyone trusted with their life. But moments later, a missile struck the ridge. Fire consumed the night. The explosion tore through the valley, leaving nothing but smoke and screams. When the dust settled, only fragments of Evans' gear were found. The official report listed him as Kia, killed in action. And his call sign was Phantom 7. Back to present. Slow heartbeat sound fades in. Now, years later, that same call sign stood in front of Rourke, worn by a woman with the same calm defiance in her eyes. He dismissed the formation and called her into his office. Inside, the room was silent except for the ticking of the wall clock. Rourke sat behind his desk, staring at the young lieutenant. Lieutenant Evans, he began, his voice low. Where did you get that call sign? She hesitated for a moment, then replied softly, it was my brother's, sir. Rourke froze. Your brother? Yes, sir. Captain Daniel Evans. Echo Team. Kandahar. 2017. Silence filled the room. Rourke leaned back, his eyes glassy. Memories flooded in. The smoke, the screams, the guilt. He'd carried the weight of that mission every day since, believing he had failed his men. She continued, her voice trembling but determined. I was 12 when the Marines came to our door. My mother collapsed when she saw the flag. My father never spoke again. But before Daniel left, he told me something. He said, if I don't make it back, you make sure they remember Phantom 7. She looked up at the colonel, tears forming in her eyes. So that's what I did, sir. First became a Marine, and I earned his name. Rourke couldn't speak. The room felt colder, heavier. He saw not a soldier in front of him, but the echo of a promise, a legacy reborn. Scene fades to the training grounds, sunset over the base. Over the next few weeks, Lieutenant Evans proved she wasn't just carrying a name, she was carrying a spirit. She trained harder than anyone else, never asked for favors, never gave excuses. When her squad struggled on the obstacle course, she stayed behind to help every one of them finish. When others complained about the 0400 drills, she was already there, running laps alone under the floodlights. Rumors spread fast across the base. They said Phantom 7 wasn't just a call sign, it was a ghost watching over her. Rourke kept his distance, but every time he saw her lead, every time he heard her voice echo across the range, he felt the presence of her brother, the young captain who'd saved his life all those years ago. Cut to the next mission briefing, thunder outside, rain tapping the windows. "Listen up, Marines," Rourke said. "Intel confirms a downed drone carrying classified data somewhere in hostile territory. We retrieve it before it falls into enemy hands. Lieutenant Evans, you'll lead Alpha Team." A few heads turned. It was rare for someone so new to lead an op. But Rourke's tone left no room for debate. "Any questions?" Evans simply nodded. "No, sir." That night, they deployed. Helicopters roared across the dark sky. The rain turned the desert to mud. Visibility was almost zero. Halfway through the mission, enemy fire erupted from the ridge. The team dove for cover, radio chatter exploding. "Alpha Team, report." Rourke's voice came over comms. Evans responded through static. "We've got 3 wounded, requesting air support," but the comms cut out. Then, an explosion. The feed went silent. Cut to command tent. Flickering monitors, chaos everywhere. Rourke stared at the screen, fists clenched. Not again. Not another Evans. He grabbed his gear. "Prep the chopper. I'm going in." The sergeant protested. "Sir, you can't." Rourke cut him off. "That's an order." Within minutes, he was airborne, wind slamming against the open doors of the Black Hawk. He looked down at the dark expanse below, fire glowing faintly in the rain. When they landed, the scene was devastation. Craters smoked in the mud, weapons scattered. He called out over the storm, "Evans. Report." No answer. Then he saw movement, a figure dragging another Marine toward cover. It was her. Her uniform was torn, blood streaked across her face, but her eyes burned with the same fire her brother once had. Rourke ran to help. "Lieutenant," she gasped, barely standing. "I'm not leaving them, sir." Together, they carried the wounded to the extraction point. Bullets sliced through the rain. One grazed Rourke's shoulder, but he didn't slow down. When they finally reached the chopper, Evans turned back one last time, toward the ridge where her brother had fallen years before. For a second, Rourke thought he saw something, a flicker of light in the fog, a shadow standing at attention. A ghost, watching. Cut to hospital tent. Soft music, heart monitor beeping slowly. Evans lay on a cot, her arm bandaged, her eyes half open. Rourke sat beside her, his uniform still damp, his shoulder wrapped in gauze. "You disobeyed a direct order out there," he said quietly. She smirked faintly. "Guess it runs in the family." He chuckled, the first real laugh he'd had in years. Then he reached into his pocket and placed something in her hand. It was a tarnished silver tag, dented, burned, but still legible. "Captain Daniel Evans, Phantom 7. Her breath caught. Where did you get this?" Rourke's voice cracked. "It was recovered the night he died. I kept it. I didn't have the heart to send it home. I thought maybe, one day, I'd find the right time." Tears filled her eyes. "You just did." For a long moment, they sat in silence. Outside, the rain had stopped. The dawn light filtered through the canvas walls, painting everything in gold. Rourke finally said, "Your brother was the best Marine I ever knew. But today, I realized he's not gone. Because he's right here." She nodded slowly, clutching the dog tag. "Phantom 7 isn't just one person, sir. It's a promise. To keep fighting. To keep remembering." Rourke smiled, eyes wet. "Then let's make sure the world remembers." Cut to final montage. Sweeping music swells. Images flash. Evans leading her unit on a new mission. The Marines saluting as the flag rises at dawn. Rourke standing in the background, proud and silent. And on the memorial wall, 2 names etched side by side. Captain Daniel Evans, Phantom 7. Lieutenant Sarah Evans, Phantom 7. A legacy continued. Closing scene. Soft narration as camera pans across the memorial. Some call signs are earned. Some are given. But a few live forever. Because courage doesn't die. It just passes on. From one heartbeat to the next. From one generation to another. And when the battlefield falls silent, and the fog of war settles once more, the echo remains. Phantom 7. Mission complete. Music fades out. Screen transitions to channel outro. Thank you for watching this story on USA Battle Zone. If this story touched your heart, if it made you remember the heroes who stand between us and danger every single day, then please like, comment, and subscribe, because every time you do, you help keep their stories alive. Until next time, stay strong, stay proud, and remember, freedom has a price, and some call signs never fade.